Good evening, Drew.
Welcome to the shit show.
Oh no, what's
No,
wrong?
I just, man, work is totally kicking my behind right now, and I'm getting ready to take next week off, and
Mm,
I have like literally pushed every single demo imaginable till tomorrow. So I'm like furiously DevOpsing some things right now.
got it.
Um, it's pretty cool though. We have a product called Azure Synapse, and I'm not sure you've ever heard of that before.
I have from you.
Yeah. So it's the next generation of our data warehouse. It's sort of
Yeah.
designed to it's designed to do two things. It's well, two and a half things. It's designed to evolve the SQL data warehouse project in Azure that we used to have. It's sort of been rebranded into Synapse. And Synapse is designed to be the place where you host your big honkin' data warehouses. A lot of things in Azure have resource limits, and even if you're using really large things like managed instances or I think even SQL hyperscale or things, you will top out at a certain terabyte limit for the amount of data you can store. Synapse, I think, theoretically scales infinitely from storage because you can have up to, I think, 280 terabytes of data in what we call the dedicated SQL pool for Synapse or thereabouts. I forget. I don't know. I work here and I should know this. But the really cool thing about it is that it takes sort of a page from the Databricks side of the house where you can also have a logical data warehouse. So if you have Parquet or CSV or other types of data sitting in a data lake, we offer Apache Spark pools. We offer what we call serverless SQL pools that can connect to this data and basically query it. So you could sort of load all your data to a data lake, store it there for data that maybe you only need to use once a week to, I don't know, do some sort of analysis, and then load your data warehouse with whatever kind of cleansing process you want to do on the serverless side. So it's a really cool concept. It's something I'm starting to get more up to speed on because traditionally I've always supported the customers that I support with things like Databricks and ADF, Azure Data Factory, for those not in the know. And Synapse is sort of coming for like all of those workloads. And it's a really cool product, but specifically, sort of what I'm working on right now is I'm working on like the CI/CD pipelines for Synapse, and
Cool.
yeah, no, it's pretty super cool. It's really fun. It's also kind of maddening a little bit. Um, there's what a lot of our PaaS services that have like integration with things like Git or Azure DevOps repos. It sort of takes the command line interface out of Git. So you can fully work within those workspaces. You can create branches, you can create pull requests to get your changes into what they call a collaboration branch. And then when you're done and you sort of publish, which is your build process, that spits out this ARM template. And this ARM template, Azure Resource Manager template, again, I hate acronyms, I just need to clarify. These Azure Resource Manager templates get spit out of the other end, and then you can use Azure DevOps agent or pipelines and things to take those release pipelines specifically, take up those ARM templates and then deploy them to another target workspace. And then you can like override all the connections you have. So like if in dev you have connections to storage accounts X, Y, and Z, when you deploy to prod, maybe you need to just sort of transform the connection strings for your storage account sort of in process. And it's really slick. And
Cool.
yeah, customers are really starting to get super savvy around the idea of source control for data operations, and it's pretty interesting to work with that stuff. So yeah, I have just an absolute bonkers day tomorrow. I've got like four 2 hour back to back demos starting at like 8 a.m. and I'm just frantically like going over the things and the highlights because I don't know. I'm not a guy who likes to talk to slides. So
Yeah.
I like to show people stuff. I'm the skeptical man from Missouri, right? So I want to set all these things up.
Yeah.
I want to say, all right, look,
Show don't tell.
yeah, exactly. Enough fluff. Like, look, here's what you're gonna have to go through to actually do this thing. And yeah, no, it's good. It's
Cool.
it's super good. So anyway, that's what I was working on, like kind of frantically before this call, and I will probably be working on it for a few hours once we're done recording tonight.
Don't forget to get plenty of sleep.
I do need some sleep, man. I am just like up a wall with stress right now.
I get it. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this
Speaking of stress,
yeah.
how's the house?
We closed last week. Everything went fine. I like I said, I took last Friday off. We went through the closing process. Everything is good. We take possession Sunday, hopefully. I mean, I have
Okay.
no reason to think that we won't. When we did the final walkthrough of the house that we're buying, uh, like all their stuff was packed, and as long as they're out of there by Sunday, none of my timelines are disrupted. And like
Nice.
I've been slowly packing things all week. I went through a pretty big purge before trash day in my back cellar, and like I don't know, man. Like I don't think I'm a hoarder, but I really went through and pitched a lot of electronics and like old motherboards that I'm not confident that they still work. So, okay. So here's an interesting sidebar. I'm looking for a way to dispose of some old external Western Digital hard drives, some old server hard drives, uh, old cell phones like Sony Treo, and like things like power adapters and stuff. And the city of Dublin has like an e-waste place that you can go and take all this stuff. So like I have to load up my car tomorrow, probably early in the morning before I get crazy, and drive it up to this place and just drop everything off. It scares me a little bit. Like I don't think there's anything that I would regret having on those hard drives that I'm going to turn in. But
Yeah.
what Dublin does is it sort of acts as a place where that stuff gets collected. Like I think I dropped off a whole server there over the summer, over the winter.
Nice.
Yeah, I had like an old server that had water damage. Long story, long story. I took that whole server there, just left it there, and nobody really batted an eye. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna like drop all that stuff off there. But anyway, yeah, I went through a pretty big purge, and I'm like sort of saving all my computers for last because I have to work tomorrow. And I would like to play video games probably tomorrow once I like decompress a little bit.
Yeah.
But tomorrow I think I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm so far behind on sort of getting ready. I've had like a flurry activity here at the house. I've had some contractors in here doing like some things that I know would probably show up on an inspection report that need fixed. So it's just been like a
Yeah.
whirlwind of activity. And it's starting to set in that, this is like the final podcast I'm going to record in this house.
That's exciting.
Well, it's exciting and it's a little nostalgic. I mean,
Yeah.
this last week has been I've been sort of vacillating between super excited to get this awesome new house that I'm really like proud of myself that I have a house this nice now. Not that I had a terrible house before. Like, look, I know that owning a home is like a huge milestone for a lot of people. I'm not trying to like flex on anybody here, but we've lived in this house for 17 years, and as newlyweds starting out is what we could afford. And I've done really well for myself over the period of time that we've lived here, and the fact that this house was so cheap has helped us save a lot of money, and that's why I'm getting this big new house. And I will really miss this neighborhood. I will really miss this house. I think it is a cute little house. I would see myself living in a house exactly like this once I'm old and frail, and I
Yeah.
can't like maintain a big yard, and all my other friends are dead, and I don't host anybody anymore. But for what I want to do, right? For having board game nights, for hosting holidays, for having a house where my wife and I are literally not on top of each other when she's home for the summer and I'm working and she's working even though it's the summertime and she's a teacher. I don't understand how that works, but
They got to keep
yeah.
getting those credits, get that renewal.
She's had a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And like I talk loud and I walk around when I talk, and I know that's annoying to her, and I'm not saying she annoys me. I think it's more that I annoy her.
I'm sure that's the case. Yes.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it's usually how this works. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things I loved about this place. There's some things I won't miss about this place. Not that I really want to get into. But I took a couple pictures. Like, I had the siding guy here today who was like fixing some warp siding on the side of my house that has literally been there the entire time I've lived here. I've never fixed it. Probably much to the chagrin of my neighbor.
Now's the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think somebody had a grill too close to it.
That'll
So
do
there
it.
was like these two pieces of warp siding that I finally had fixed. And, I sort of walked around the side of the house. And as I was walking back, I sort of like took a stroll out to the curb and I took some pictures. And I would love to find somebody that could just like draw my house,
Oh,
just like draw it because it's a cute little place.
that's
I
cute. Yeah.
will I will miss it. I will miss how close I am to the park. I will miss how close I am to downtown Dublin, even though I'm only moving 4 miles away from where I live now. So I know that sounds like a weird thing to be nostalgic and sad about, but yeah, man, it's rough because we have lived here for a considerable period of time. I don't
Yeah.
know. And I know that you have moved, but do you ever sort of miss your old places you lived?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, also considering everything that's happened to this house that I can't
Yeah.
talk about yet because
Yeah.
of pending litigation. Yeah, there are moments where I just like, can I have the old one back? But yeah,
Yeah, and I'm sure you have like a lot of memories of like when your kids were little or in those
yeah,
places. Like
yeah.
you probably have like way different memories than like I have of this place, right? I mean, the only
It's
thing I really
true.
have here is like the thing that I think my wife and I are probably most nervous about is Rocky, just because this is the only home he's ever
Hmm.
really known,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
I think he's just going to be all confused for a little bit, which,
That, that
he'll adapt.
that can happen to pets. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but like, I was like sort of like sitting with Rocky today on a little break from work because that's what I do. Like, that's how I take breaks is I sit with Rocky for a little bit
Nice.
and annoy him instead of annoying my wife. And I realized that, I laid on this dining room floor for like the first 2 nights we had him, right? And it's just
Oh,
like, I know the spot that we laid and we had his little towel and how he looked. And like, I have pictures of him from back then. It's just, it makes me misty,
yeah, yeah.
This home has been a big part of my life. And as I'm sort of starting this next chapter and moving, I know like my dad has helped me put a lot of work into this place. So I look at some of the things that he and I, mostly he, because he's way more crafty than me, have sort of done to this place, like the building shelves in the basement and some of the flooring and like the trim and how he's helped me paint. And
Yeah.
it's hard to not get a little nostalgic about it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but you get to make a whole new set of memories in a whole new place. So you get that to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, those memories aren't going anywhere. You're not going, well, unless your brain, turns into pudding or something. But
Right.
yeah, you still have those memories and photos and stuff. So and you'll get to enjoy the new house and make memories there. So, but I agree, it's tough. Like, I still remember, like, for me, like, when I was going through some old pictures, like, when we first had the kids, like, the old house we had this big, like, cathedral ceiling, right? So, like, the living room, the ceiling essentially went up 2 stories. And we got this
Hmm.
just comically, ridiculously huge Christmas tree. Uh, that will not fit in this house because the ceilings aren't tall enough, but we had that up for a couple of years and seeing pictures of that and going, that was neat. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, given our space requirements here, we've always sort of gravitated to the smaller Christmas tree setup. The great room in the house we're moving to, I think will have about the same ceiling height as our living room now. So I don't think we can go to one of those big Christmas trees. But I know that friend of the show, John Krebs, one of his requirements of when he buys his next house, he wants like a super high ceiling so he can have like a 20-foot Christmas tree, which
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
whatever.
yep,
So yeah, so everything's sort of going down this weekend. Like I said, I've sort of packed up all the things that I want to cover packing, and we've gone through everything else pretty much. The company that is going to move us is sending their expert packers to our home.
mm,
They're coming Saturday, and they basically blocked off 4 hours. And I guess if that was your job, right? Like if that was your job, like you're here to pack a house. I bet you'd be efficient and you'd be raring to go.
yeah,
As the homeowner, that is not me. I know it would take me longer than 4 hours to pack everything in this house because I would hate the whole entire time I was doing it.
right,
So they're basically sending 2 people for 4 hours for our house. And like I said, I don't know if I brought this up before, but from what I'm told, these people basically show up. They show up in a van. The van has like every supply they need, all the different box sizes, all the different types of boxes, like garments versus like stuff, all the packing material, so like bubble wrap and tissue paper for packing dishes or whatever they're going to do. And like no joke, I'm told that they show up with like holsters for like their tape guns, like
Wow.
yeah. So I'm actually a little excited to see how that all goes down on Saturday. And then Sunday is the day where we get possession, and I will hopefully start moving some things manually,
Right, right.
like maybe some mattresses or something if I can figure out a way to do that. Because like there's some things that I think I have to do between Saturday and Monday morning when the for real movers come, where it's like disconnecting washing machines and taking apart furniture and stuff that I don't think they can do. So
Yeah, I don't know.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. So the next few days are going to be just that's my way of saying the next few days are just going to be exceptionally busy.
I get it. Yep.
All right, enough about my problems. I want to hear about this next topic. So what did you do?
So, I bought a Switch Lite.
Now, okay, hold on.
Mhm.
Let me stop you right there. So the Switch Lite is the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I think performance-wise, it's the same thing, but
It is.
the Joy-Cons don't detach.
Yeah, like all of the quote unquote Switch stuff, like being able to play it in docked and handheld mode, that's all gone. It is only handheld.
Only handheld.
Only handheld. You cannot attach it to your TV. You can like prop it up and like play with like a Pro controller, but like there's no docked mode. The Joy-Cons are permanently attached. But yeah, as far as like performance wise, it's the same as the Switch. It plays all the same games. The screen is the same resolution. It's actually a little bit smaller than the regular Switch. It honestly, like, it's perfect. I've always liked handheld consoles, and spoiler alert, we have another one coming up to talk about next. I've had the PSP, I've had the Vita, I've had many Game Boys. The hardware it's phenomenal. It's great. It's super light. It's got great battery life. I actually like that the screen is a little bit smaller because like the Switch is only like a 720p console. And I think the smaller screen just makes the pixels a little smaller and things look a little bit more crisp. I love the hardware. I got the blue version. It's beautiful. I love it. I've been putting hella hours into that thing. But there's a problem, and Nintendo has this concept of like primary and secondary consoles, and the way it works is only one console can be marked as primary. So obviously, we had a regular Switch in the house. Like I got a Switch near launch, so it's one of the original Switches. Actually, my son has it right now. My family's on vacation at the beach. He's got the Switch with him. So there's a lot of questions about what's going to happen when he gets it back home. And my console fights for... Okay, it's weird. So Nintendo like has that online account stuff, so I can download the games to my Switch Lite that I have previously purchased. But only one console can be primary, and that is the only console that's allowed to play games on it without an internet connection. So currently, my Switch Lite is my secondary console, and every time it tries to launch a game, it reaches out to the internet to say, "Hey, am I allowed to play this game?" Which is fine when I'm home. It's not going to be so fine if I want to take it with me anywhere that's not my home. And it's even more draconian than that. Like, the secondary console has to be connected to the internet constantly, and if it ever loses its connection, it'll basically prevent you from playing the game. It'll just go, you lost connectivity. You can't play Mario Kart anymore. Middle fingers.
Ooh, that's lame.
Yeah, you can't play. From what I can tell in the documentation, you can't play the same game on Switches attached to the same account that are digitally purchased. I think I can get around that by like buying like actual cartridges, but I don't know if I want to do that. Uh, it's just I don't know. I mean I get it. Like they don't want people like selling Switches associated to like their account and you get all the games on it or like piracy. But I think they just missed they took a big old swing at it and they missed. It's so enjoyable to play, but just knowing that like I'm gonna have to do this dance of going, okay, well I'm gonna take my Switch Lite out, so I have to log on to the other Switch, mark it as not primary, go to my Switch Lite, go to the store, mark it as primary. Now I can leave. Like, yeah, or vice versa. If my son ever wants to take the rig, because like he'll go to like sleepovers and stuff, and he'll grab the Switch and go, and like just to know that I'm gonna have to like worry about which Switch is the primary one because only one of us can leave the house with the Switch at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, man. And I'm going to sound like, PC elitist here for a minute, but I feel like there are tiers of like console online integration. And I think that every console sort of has its own quirks. Like I think Nintendo is the true oddball of the three.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Like when you look at how they do like multiplayer,
it's like friend codes and stuff. Yeah.
Friend codes, right? And I think that is designed, and like the whole thing about, so not only friend codes, but the whole fact that the consoles are portable and that you can add friends that are nearby, type of thing, right? Like it's designed to be a very social experience that is anything but if you're not around anybody,
right?
And like I remember watching videos of people playing like Super Mario Maker, and like the level codes are like basically GUIDs, right? So it's like,
right.
I mean, it's a weird thing, and like their service is not super cheap either.
It's not.
Like,
no,
you have to pay. There is no free tier for them.
Yeah.
I think again, going to sound like company shill here, but I feel like Xbox is probably the closest to getting it right. Because I think they have done away, if I remember reading, they're doing away with the Xbox Gold subscription. Like, you'll be able to play online without needing Gold anymore. And instead, they're trying to upsell the whole Xbox Game Pass to get you access to games.
Yeah.
Sony's a little bit weird, because I still think you have to be a PS Plus member to play online, yes?
Depends on the game.
Okay.
Not every game requires that. Like, you don't have, like, Fortnite, for example, you don't have to pay any kind of subscription. You can just play. I think it's all based on deals of whether like companies are revenue sharing. Like, like I think Epic gives a cut of the V-Bucks sold to Sony and stuff, so they allow people to play online. But yeah, a lot of games you do need PlayStation Plus. But like you get other stuff for PlayStation Plus, right? It's not just online games. So yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure what Nintendo can do differently, but it's not good. It's not good. It's not
well,
good.
do you plan on upgrading to the new one that they're releasing?
Oh, that's primarily why I bought the Switch Lite, as I was kind of waiting to see what like the next Switch was going to be, and like whether it was going to be like have better hardware and be like 4K capable and things like that. And then they just released it's the exact same Switch, but it's OLED and $100 more. You want it. And I'm like, I don't think I do.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. Yeah. And everybody was like super butthurt that they didn't go to 4K. And I'm like, Honey Bear, like where are they going to cram those extra Ks in that little thin console, right? Like there's nowhere for it to go.
I mean, I expected it to be bigger, but who knows? Like, I think there is still like
title of my sex tape.
I think there is still like a more powerful Switch in the future. It's just now's a hard time to launch stuff like that because of the chip shortage and stuff. So at least at the volume that Nintendo would have to sell this thing at, and I was just happened to be at the store and I saw the Switch Lite and I'm like, you know what? I want one of those. I want to be able to sit on my sofa and listen to podcasts and play Animal Crossing. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm doing. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But that's not the only handheld console news in the gaming world. Valve sure dropped a big old
let's
surfboard size shape of something. Yeah, okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Steam Deck, Drew?
Yeah, so the Steam Deck is a portable console, for lack of a better term here.
Portable.
That will
I'll use that term in quotes.
Yeah,
Portable.
big air quotes, because it is.
It's
There's really
huge.
no nice way to say it. It's pretty darn big.
It's big.
And
I was doing the math, and okay, so it's about a pound and a half, which is 2.5 times the weight of my Switch Lite.
right. Well, what's really funny to me is that it's a pretty big boy. Let me see if I can get the actual dimensions, size and weight. 298 millimeters by 117, and it's 49 millimeters thick. And I think that 49 millimeters is, I don't know if, because like if you look at it, it's kind of got those Joy-Cons that, well, not Joy-Cons, that's the wrong word, but the triggers that sort of stick off the back.
Oh yeah, it's got, yes, yeah.
I don't think 49 millimeters covers that.
No, it's probably at the middle
at
point,
the thinnest
yeah.
point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. The resolution on it, though, again, only 1280 by 800, and I say only in air quotes.
And to me, I think 7 inches is too big for that screen.
Yes, I think there will be noticeable artifacting.
Yeah, like you're gonna see them pixels, boy. Them gonna be some thick pixels, especially
Yeah.
a device that close to your face. Like, and I get it, like battery life, but
Well, that said, though, the device has some interesting horsepower to it. It's running one of the newer, not newest, but one of the newer AMD APUs, which is the CPU with integrated graphics, right? So
Okay.
it's a Zen 2 4-core processor. And then it has, kind of AMD's built-in RDNA graphics processor or whatever they call it, their RDNA stuff. It's got eight RDNA cores and 2 compute units for like the machine learning stuff that graphics cards do now. And it's like super low wattage. It's like anywhere between 4 and 15 watts at full tilt, which that's pretty impressive given the specs involved here.
It absolutely is. Yes.
Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive when I look at that. This thing comes in 3 flavors. The actual processor and RAM specs are the same across the board. But if you pay a little bit more, you can get NVMe storage versus eMMC storage, which I suspect is going to be. I think the 64 gig one's probably going to be hot garbage for very large games.
Yeah, like that exists to hit a price point.
Yeah, exactly. We could sell this for $399. Yep.
Yeah.
I think that if I was going to buy this, and I'm very on the fence for reasons I'll get to here in a minute, I would probably target the middle one. The storage goes from 64 to 256 gigabytes, and then the highest model is the 512. There's also a micro SD card slot in there.
Yes.
But I think that that's very probably similar to what the Switch does, where you can offload games to the micro SD card, right? But maybe games you don't play as much.
You can play games off the SD card, right? But it's like
it was
was designed with that in mind, right? So you're not going to have great load times, like, and I think like a lot of like it's Scratch. Like, when it's, has to write temporary files and stuff goes into the internal storage because, SD cards have a shelf life. They only support so many IO operations before they just turn into, garbage. So yeah, like the SD card's a nice, we'll see how it works. There are some hands-on videos on YouTube. I was watching some of those, a little bit earlier. So people got to go out to Valve and play with it before the announcement. Yeah, I mean, so I'm torn, right? Okay, so first of all, my Apple design aesthetics, this thing is ugly. Just absolutely ugly. Like, it's, I mean, and I get it. That's not the market. Like, they're selling to people that buy plastic Android phones. Like, I get it. Like, you don't care. You're keeping design costs down. You're using plastic because it's cheap and light. But I don't think it looks good. uh
No,
it looks
no, it
yeah,
doesn't.
it doesn't
It
look good.
doesn't. Aesthetically, I mean, it's a big
Uh-huh.
dark piece of plastic.
Yeah.
With, I mean, let's just face it, an iPad mini screen in the middle.
Yeah.
There's two things about it that really concern me. The first is the position of the D-pad. It's an interesting place.
Yeah, like
I'll tell you right
you're
now,
not gonna use that D-pad.
they put track pads on both side of the display.
Yes.
That's not going to end well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to have a way to, because it's a PC. Like, it runs like a version of Linux. It's all about like Steam's pushed into gaming on Linux and stuff like that. So you have to be able to use a mouse, because you might play a game that's not really, like super compatible with thumbsticks and stuff and buttons, or you're gonna open up a web browser and need to be able to like select stuff. So I get it. And like for me, like all things considered, the cost, the ugliness, how big it is, my number one concern is weight. As someone who found the regular Switch in handheld mode to be too heavy, this is literally 1.5 pounds.
It is heavy, and like they're saying in the marketing material here that it's designed to be comfortable for hours of play, and I'm just like, I don't think so.
I don't believe it.
I don't think so.
I don't believe it, not for a second. Like I think it's too heavy. And let's be honest, Valve has not had a necessarily good track record with hardware or supporting hardware for.
Yeah. So I was on the bandwagon. I own a Steam Link that is discontinued. I own a Steam controller that is also discontinued.
Yeah.
They weren't, well, the Steam Link was, I never really had good luck with it because I always had problems pairing multiple controllers to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good at pairing one controller, but what I really wanted it for was like couch co-op games, and I just had a hell of a time getting multiple controllers paired to it. So that was like, and like I bought it when they were like clearing it out. I think I got it for like $10 or something. The Steam controller, same thing, but that has that same goofy ass trackpad, and I hate it. It's not good. I'm glad that they gave you the analog sticks on this one. I'm a little disappointed that there's 2 trackpads, but I guess if it has like a mouse interface, I don't know.
Yeah. And I did watch like a video where like they're I think they have this before. It's called like Steam Input, but they're coming out with like a better version of that. Like, so you can make like the trackpads like bring up like an on menu thing, and then you can kick off macros or do like keyboard stuff from there. So you don't necessarily just have to use it as like a pointing device. It'll be for other things as well, and you can customize what that is. But I don't know.
Yeah,
and they're doing a thing where like pre-sales go off tomorrow, so by the time you are hearing this, I'm sure the reservations are all gone. But you can't. They're not. The pre-sale is going to happen later, but you can pay $5 to reserve your spot to reserve it. Is that how it's working? You have to like get in line. You have to buy a ticket to get in line to pre-order it.
Yeah, so you pay $5, and I'm assuming you will pay the rest right before it probably ships.
Yeah.
So, interesting tactic here, because I feel like if that's the case, I might do it.
I might too.
I don't want to pay the $500 right now because I just bought a house and I have other things I need to take care of. Yeah. But by December, I hope to be financially solvent and I could afford to buy fun things again. It put the price point right at a place where I think they're going to sell out all their pre-orders.
Yeah. So like, yes. Yeah. So the $5, I'm reading some of the frequently asked questions right now. So the $5 does not guarantee you the right to for the pre-order. That puts you in a queue, and you'll be as the inventory is available, you'll be sent an email giving yourself a chance to purchase one. just because you gave them $5 does not mean you'll be one of the first people to get one of these things.
Woof. Okay. Well, so that means you need to be Johnny on the spot when you're pre-ordering.
Yes, it just means that yes, I am interested in getting one, and then you have 30 days to cancel your reservation. Yeah, and you can only get one. So that's yep.
You can only get one.
Yep, you can only get one.
Only get one.
Mm-hmm. So trying to cut the. I mean, it's smart too, because if you look at the absolute shit show that Microsoft and Sony are going through, where like you can't buy an Xbox or a PS5 like as soon as they're on sale anywhere, they're gone, unless you want to pay 2 to 3 times the price on eBay. So this does kind of combat scalpers a little bit, at least. If you buy one, you're not going to be able to, well, I guess it's one per active Steam account. But they are making sure that you've I guess you've had to already make a purchase from your account to be eligible for a reservation. So you can't just make a bunch of Steam accounts now to get a bunch. Yeah. So it says, as an additional safeguard to ensure a fair ordering process, we've added a requirement that the reserver has made a purchase on Steam prior to June 2021 for the first 48 hours of reservation availability.
Okay.
So, I mean, in that way, it's smart, right? They're really just giving a big thumbs up, a middle finger to the scalpers to make it more difficult. But
no, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And they do something similar with the ability to add friends and join communities. Your Steam account has to be so old, or you need to have spent a certain amount of money. So Steam's got some interesting phase gates on how you can do stuff on their platform. I don't know, man. $5.
I know. I've already put a reminder in my calendar just to see how I'm feeling tomorrow. Yeah. Just to think whether I'm going to
I will probably be busy the minute this thing launches, and I will miss out. I'm just calling it now. With as busy as I'm going to be tomorrow, I'm just sort of calling it. But I'm intrigued. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought maybe it was going to let you stream games from your library, but I don't think so. I think this is designed to let you play your games. Right? Yeah,
I mean, they're going to sell a dock. And it's all USB-C, so you can plug in a keyboard, mouse, external display, and use it like a desktop computer. It's really more of a computer glued to a controller than a handheld, which I think may be its downfall. But I don't know. It's just clever and different enough that I'm interested, but I don't know, there's so many red flags. It's so big. It's so ugly. It's so heavy.
Yeah.
I don't need this in my life, Paul. I don't need one of these. But part of me is but look at the buttons on the back. It's got buttons. It's got buttons on the buttons.
It's got buttons on the back. And there are definitely games that I would like to play from my Steam library mobile.
Yeah.
There are. I'm not going to lie. There definitely are some games that I would play mobile on this thing.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm being 100% truthful with myself, I have not turned on my Switch in about 6 months.
Yeah.
I do want to get the new Mario Golf game, but I haven't yet. See financial solvency. But I haven't turned that on. The only handheld I play right now is my Dinkus.
Oh, you're open. You're Dinkus.
My Abernic.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
Yeah.
Dude, at least once a week I fire that thing up.
Yeah, see, that is sitting in my drawer, and I don't think I've actually even looked at it for months.
I sometimes at night, right before I go to bed, I sort of sit on the couch and I will fire up a Genesis game or a Nintendo game and just sort of play for 20 minutes, and it's just super nice.
You see, that's what I'm so looking forward to with my Switch Lite, is just be able to right before bed, just fire that bad boy up, maybe do a run of Hades, maybe play some Animal Crossing and catch some fish for Tom Nook. Uh,
Thomas K. Nook.
yeah, Tom Nook. Uh, it's,
Yeah, I get it. I
yeah,
totally get it.
yeah.
Now, here's the thing I'm probably most intrigued about this thing about. If you sort of look at the tech specs,
Mm-hmm.
you will notice that the software is Arch based, which
Yep.
Nick, friend of the show, Nick Dunn, has a huge erection.
Steam OS.
Steam OS, which is Arch based, but it's running KDE Plasma Desktop. So here's the question: how long till somebody homebrews this thing?
Well, I've already watched some like hands-on videos, and apparently one of the things that Valve is saying you can do is like, dude, if you want to wipe it and put Windows on it, go nuts. We don't care. It's it's a PC. Like, obviously, like we've optimized it for Steam OS, and you'll get like the battery indicator and all of the great like state syncing all of your save games back and forth, and it's optimized for Steam OS, but they're really pushing the fact that this is just a freaking computer. Like, it's open. You don't have to jailbreak it to do what you want with it.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's like if you want to install like mods outside of the Steam store, go ahead. The file system's there. Just go nuts.
And I'm sure that there's probably a way you could connect it to your computer and re-image it or something if you totally mess it up.
Yeah. I would imagine you could pull down the original image and get that back and reinstall it. You probably have to like put it on a thumb drive and plug it in or something. But yeah, like it really just is a PC glued inside of a game controller.
Well, I think again, and this is sort of where my head goes with this. Like my dingus right now is really good at emulating a lot of platforms.
Mm-hmm.
It can't emulate Dreamcast. It can't emulate PS2. It can't really do a great job with Dolphin, which is N64.
Yeah.
I feel like this definitely could.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's got
yeah.
It's absolutely.
So I'm interested in that regard because I have been in the market for like a portable thing that could emulate a PS2. Because I have a lot of PS2 things that I have. And I sometimes will install an emulator on my PC to play those games. So it's a good time.
Yeah.
Okay. I think for $5 I'll sort of pay to get in line. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Ask me next week if I've done it or not. Like, I'm so on the fence. Like, it is just screaming, Paul, this is not for you. But I'm also just like, it's different. It's it's a different approach to portable gaming, and I don't know. It might work. Oh.
Yeah, I think I can pay $5 to try to find out. Now, if I get it and it's like, yeah, yours won't ship till July of 2022,
out.
I might ask my $5 back. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But who knows? Okay. I think last thing to sort of talk about here. Last show, I said I was in the market for some security cameras.
Yep.
I'm very grateful to all the people who reached out with advice.
Nice.
Nobody reached out for.
Oh no! Oh, you had me there. You had me.
Yeah.
Like, people,
we don't have listeners, Paul.
Okay.
You should know that by now.
Well, reach out, people. Let us know you're there.
Yeah. So I dropped a link into the show notes, and I will put this on the show notes. But I ended up going with one of these Lorex IP based systems. I watched some YouTube videos. Read some reviews online. Really what it comes down to is that if you want a wired security camera system that does not have a subscription, you're really looking at two major brands. That's Lorex and Swan. I went with this particular one. I spent a little bit more than I wanted. But this comes with 4 cameras, which is about all I'm going to need. And next week I have an electrician coming at the house to see like if he can drill holes in my house to like wire these things up.
Yeah, because you have to run, like, it comes with like I don't know, it's not like a dock, but like a hub, right? Like,
yes,
you have to like run these things via Ethernet into this hub thing, right?
So that's part of the reason I ran with this one. So there are IP based systems, and then there are non IP based systems. They have a different name, but I don't know what they are. So this hub is essentially a PoE router.
Okay.
So
Power
all you
power over
power over
Ethernet
Ethernet
for you
So
schlebs. Yeah.
so like the cameras have like a little dongle cable that plugs into them, and that dongle sort of goes into the cavity of the wall where you mount it. And that dongle has two ports. It has a port for an Ethernet cable, and it has a cable for power. So if you didn't have PoE for whatever reason, you could power it from some other source.
Got it.
Um, Now, what's really fascinating about these, because like I said, I did some research here, is that you don't have to necessarily use the hub to connect these cameras. If you wanted to wire them into an existing network, you could, provided it's PoE or you power the cameras. All you really have to do is put this hub on sort of the same network or subnet as wherever the cameras are plugged in,
Got it.
and it will somehow sort of magically find them.
Okay.
So basically, this thing has 8 channels, but it comes with 4 cameras, so it's expandable. And this is what Lorex calls their fusion system. So you can have wired cameras, and if I want to add some wireless cameras later, this is ready to add wireless cameras.
Oh, that's neat. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little bit future-proofing in that way. I don't ever see myself adding more cameras, just to be totally transparent. So yeah, this one, they're 4K cameras. I looked at a couple different models that they did the higher resolution. The thing you sort of have to watch out for here is the frame rate of these things aren't super great. So this one apparently is a steady 30 frames.
Okay.
And because they're 4K resolution, you don't necessarily need to use optical zoom because the image resolution is so high. Like I'll be able to sort of pick out details just from scaling up the image.
Enhance.
Right. Enhance. Now, here's the other interesting thing. If you sort of look at the Amazon listing page for this, you will notice on the back of this device, there are monitor inputs, right? HDMI and D-sub, I think is what that's called. It's been so long. So the idea is that you hook this thing up to a monitor, and that can basically act as the monitor that shows you your cameras. It also has mobile app support where you can use your app to sort of remote into this device. It's not like this pushes it to a cloud and then you use it. Like your phone app literally phones home, so you have to do like port forwarding to get into it and stuff like that, which nah. But it also has software for like your Mac or your PC, so if you wanted to like look at your cameras on your other computers, you could do that too.
Cool.
Like on your local network and stuff. So yeah, I think this is pretty much what I'm going to need. I'm just not looking forward to what it might potentially cost to get my house wired up to use these.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it'll be several $100s and probably some drywall damage. But I don't know. I don't know because I'm only having these things mounted sort of on the first story, if that makes sense, on some of the soffits. So I think they could probably get in there pretty easily. But I want an expert to basically tell me what I'm doing.
For sure. Yep.
And there's lots of YouTube videos of people like tucking it behind their siding and all sorts of stuff, and I'm like, well, that would be great, but now I have stucco, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's not going to work for you then.
Yeah,
it's not.
I can't tuck it behind the stucco.
Yep, they're going to have to drill holes through your house.
Yeah, and these things I think have two-way talk. They have really good. One thing that they're really praised for is their night vision system. If there's enough just kind of ambient light with the moonlight, you technically get color night vision.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. And then the other thing is their software is pretty cool. Very much like the Nest, you can set up like when the camera's like, let's say the camera is pointed at my driveway. I don't know how it does this, but you could set up motion rules for different types of objects. For instance, I could basically set it so if a person walks in my driveway, it won't necessarily trigger a motion event, but if a car pulls in my driveway, it will. And I'm assuming it's doing that just by the scale of the image that is moving. But it's interesting that you can set up individual rules for the type of motion you want to detect.
It's machine learning, Drew.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Just FYI, all machine learning is just linear regression. There, I said it. So, yeah, I'm excited to get this. This arrives tomorrow. It will move with me to the new home, and once I'm up and operational, maybe I'll give you a tour of it live on the podcast.
Cool. That'd be great.
Well, here we are. Here we are. I'm going to miss my little recording nook here I will probably start to tear some of this stuff down tomorrow.
Big times. And
big things are happening
for Gurr household.
Yeah, you almost got it.
I did. I got it in one.
You nailed it. Got it in one. Okay, so question for you, Paul. So a couple housekeeping things here.
Okay.
I was gonna do this off the air with you, but let's do it on the air because this will be more fun and people can kind of see where they rank.
Okay.
There's an even money chance that I may not be in a position to record the podcast next week.
Oh, okay.
So do we want to line up a substitute podcast guest?
We could.
Yeah. Who do we want to ask?
Who are you thinking, Drew? You have someone in mind. I know you do.
I have like 3 people in mind.
Okay.
My first choice for anything in this space is ready. We'll say it at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
John Kruger.
Yeah, John. I would love to get John Kruger on the podcast, even if he can't guest host. I think it would just be good to get him like as a guest that you and I could just talk to and catch up.
I think we need to save John Kruger so a time where we can both record, like both be on there with him. Yeah, like that's special. John Kruger is special.
John Kruger is extremely special. Yes, John, if you're listening, I know you're not, but John, if you're listening, we want to have you on our podcast. We will set that up. Okay. Other people I'm considering, I know Eric Darling is a huge fan of our show. I think he'd be fun for you to interact with.
Okay.
And you guys could just talk about me for 50 minutes or whatever. I don't care. I will ask him if he wants to substitute next week.
Okay.
Maybe our British friend Rob Sewell, if he's listening.
Okay.
He's usually a week behind on the podcast, so I don't know if he'll hear this in time, but we can always reach out to him via DM.
Okay.
Corey King. I think Corey King would be an energetic guest.
He would be an energetic guest. Yes.
I don't know. Who else are you thinking?
Those are all good candidates. I like all of those. Yes.
So I say we just basically like spam them, and whoever replies first wins.
Okay. Who wants to be Drew next week?
Yeah. Who wants to be Drew next week?
Okay.
And they can come with an agenda of things that they want to ask about, or we can give them access to the doc, or I don't know. Whatever they want to talk about.
The docs
they can talk about me.
I mean, the doc's in bad shape right now. Like, I think we're pushing the limits of what Google Docs can do.
Yeah,
I need to like trim this out and like archive a lot of it. And
we have 108 bullet point episodes in here, plus topics that I think have been in here.
From the beginning.
Like they're literally moldy. They're literally moldy.
Yeah, I'm just too lazy to go in and like clean it up and throw it all away. There's still some in here that like I want to know what it was all about. Like, you have a topic in here, Drew ate a lot of bread. I still want to hear about that, but
don't. You know what? It's funny you say that. That has been in the doc for a long time, but I distinctly remember what happened when I ate a lot of bread. That's a story for a different time. Oh. If you subscribe to our Patreon, you can hear that Drew ate a lot of bread. No, I'm kidding. We'll talk about the time I ate too much bread.
Oh, all right.
That was an early quarantine thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
all right. What do you say we wrap this one up, Paul?
Let's do it.
We'll go from there.
Yeah. As always, you can find us on the internet, doingtheirbest.com, and on the Twitters at doingbestpod. I'm on Twitter at Paul Baylor. And where can we find you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Pittfurg, Pittfurg.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See ya.